What really happens when you stop having sex in old age? The truth no one talks about. They don't talk about it much, do they? The quiet truth that somewhere along the line, someone decided that after a certain age, your desires were no longer valid, that your body somehow stopped craving touch, intimacy, connection, that if you were past 60 or 70 or even 80, your sexuality should politely retire along with you. Maybe you even started to believe that you're... Let's tear that idea down right here, right now. Because behind closed doors, millions of older adults are wrestling with a silence that doesn't belong to them. It was handed to them, conditioned into them. And the consequences? They're bigger than most people realize. This isn't just about sex. It's about life, health, memory, mood, purpose. It's about what it means to be fully human at every age. You see, when intimacy vanishes from someone's life, it doesn't go quietly. It leaves a wake. The absence of touch and connection can echo through the nervous system, stir up depression, intensify anxiety, and deepen loneliness in ways that medicine can't always fix. People age faster, emotionally shrink, sometimes even lose their will to keep engaging with the world. But nobody says that out loud. They'll talk about blood pressure, cholesterol, and arthritis, but not the aching loss of physical affection. And that's a problem, because human connection, especially the kind rooted in physical closeness, is not a luxury, it's survival. Your body doesn't stop needing it just because candles stop being lit or anniversaries become more about dinner than desire. It's still there, quietly waiting, hoping you'll notice. So this isn't a lecture, it's a conversation we should have had decades ago. And maybe it took courage for you to even click on this. Maybe it's something you've thought about but felt unsure who to ask. Or maybe you're in a loving relationship, but the spark's been buried under years of routine, of pain, of silence. Or maybe you're single and wondering if there's still room in your life for something new, something thrilling, something Let's talk honestly, with no shame and no apologies. Because the truth is, if you stop having sex in old age, not just the act, but the expression of closeness, vulnerability and desire, it changes things. Not always right away, but slowly, quietly, it chips away at the parts of you that feel most alive. And the good news, that aliveness doesn't have an expiration date. So let's take it back. Number 1, the silent epidemic. How loneliness and touch deprivation affect the elderly. You can feel completely surrounded by people and still be lonely. That kind of loneliness, the one that eats at you quietly when no one is watching, doesn't always look like isolation. It can show up in a marriage, in a full house, in a nursing home with friendly staff. It's not just about being alone. It's about feeling untouched, unseen, unwanted. We don't talk enough about what it does to the body when you go years, sometimes decades, without real physical affection. A hand on your back, a kiss that means something, a body close to yours, not out of duty but desire. Science calls it touch starvation, and in older adults, it's a quiet epidemic. Not having that regular, warm, intentional human contact actually triggers stress hormones. Cortisol levels rise, sleep suffers, immunity weakens, depression creeps in, your skin becomes more sensitive to pain, your heart starts to carry more pressure than it should. It doesn't stop there. When we stop being touched, we start forgetting how to touch back, physically and emotionally. We become less open, less trusting, less resilient. People begin to shrink from the world, a little at a time. Sometimes they call it aging, but often it's just deprivation. The absence of closeness begins to wear us down, and the worst part is, it's invisible. No doctor checks for it, no medical chart includes, but you feel it, in the deep parts of yourself. that long for something more, that know you're not done loving or being loved, not even close. The good news is, this doesn't have to be your story, and it's never too late to rewrite it. Number 2, sex is not just physical, it's neurological, emotional, and spiritual. Let's clear something up right now. Sex isn't just about bodies, not at any age, and especially not in the later chapters of life. It's about the mind, the heart, the soul. The brain is actually the biggest sex organ you've got. When you feel connected, excited, wanted, that doesn't just light up your skin. It lights up your entire system. Studies have shown that sexual activity in older adults improves everything from memory retention to overall brain health. Why? Because pleasure releases chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, that keep your emotional world balanced. It reduces anxiety. It helps you sleep. It supports cardiovascular health. It even protects against cognitive decline, including dementia. And here's the truth you won't hear in most conversations. Real intimacy in old age isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's not about chasing a fantasy. It's about being fully in the moment with another human being and with that vulnerability, that warmth, that openness. That's what keeps people alive inside. That's what turns years into experiences instead of just time passing by. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt touched? Not just skin deep, but soul deep. This is what society forgets. This is what the stereotypes hide. That older adults are not past it. In fact, many discover a deeper, more powerful kind of intimacy than they ever knew in their younger years. Less pressure, less ego, more meaning. Because it's not about what your body can't do anymore. It's about what your body and your heart still can. And trust me, it's more than enough. Number 3, the myths are killing you. What society got horribly wrong. You've heard them your whole life. Old people don't have sex. It's inappropriate. You should be focused on your grandchildren, not your body. It's disgusting at your age. Grow up. That part of your life is over. Lies. Every single one. These aren't just bad ideas. They're dangerous. These myths are suffocating generations of people who deserve to feel alive. These myths shame women into silence. They pressure men into hiding their fears about aging and performance. They convince entire communities that if you're past a certain age, you're no longer a sensual being. You're no longer desirable. You're no longer you. And worst of all, these myths come from everywhere. From media that only shows young, flawless bodies in love. From religions that treat sex as shameful. From doctors who avoid the topic like it's a joke. From families who assume that just because you're old, you've somehow given up the right to feel intimate. That collective silence has consequences. It leaves people uneducated about their own health. It stops partners from communicating. It creates fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of trying again. Fear of even wanting more. And over time, that fear becomes your truth. But let me say this as clearly as possible. Wanting sex, wanting touch, wanting to feel desirable is not something to be embarrassed about. It's not dirty. It's not selfish. It's not weird. It's human. And yet we carry so much shame, don't we? Especially when the body changes, when sex looks different, when society keeps whispering, "You should have stopped by now." That shame doesn't belong to you. It was planted there. And it's time you dug it out, root and all. Because the moment you let go of those myths is the moment you start living again. Not as who people expect you to be, but as who you really are. Number 4, the body remembers, but you have to let it. And your body hasn't forgotten how to feel. It hasn't stopped knowing what it likes. It hasn't shut off the signals, it's just waiting for permission. Aging changes things, of course. Skin becomes thinner, joints might ache, hormones shift. Erections might not come as easily. Arousal may take longer. But here's the beautiful truth. Intimacy doesn't end. The old rules might not apply anymore. The quick, impulsive sex of your youth might give way to something slower, deeper, more patient. But it can be even more fulfilling, more emotionally rich. Because now, you're not performing, you're connecting. You're not rushing, you're savoring. You're not proving anything. You're just being. The key is to listen. To your partner, yes. But also to yourself. What feels good now? What's changed? What kind of touch do you crave? Not just physically, but emotionally. What new things are you curious about that you were too afraid to explore before? It takes courage to ask those questions. It takes kindness to answer them honestly. And if you're in a relationship, communication is everything. Talk about what's different. Talk about what's missing. Talk about what you both want to rediscover. And if you're not in a relationship, that doesn't mean your sensual life is over. It may just be beginning in a brand new way. Desire doesn't require a partner. It requires permission from you. Because when you open the door again, the body remembers. The memories, the sensations, the longing, they come back. And with them, a part of you comes back too. Not the younger you, the wiser you, the freer you, the one who knows now that this part of life isn't over. It's just been waiting for you to come home to it. Number 5, couples who thrive. The power of intimate connection in long-term relationships. You know what's easy? Drifting. Even in the most loving relationships, intimacy can quietly slip into the background. Decades of routines, kids, health scares, loss, and stress can wear down what once felt electric. Sometimes it's not even a lack of love. It's just that life got heavy and touch became something occasional, or mechanical, or forgotten. But here's the secret. Intimacy doesn't fade because time passes. It fades when it's neglected, and it comes back when it's nourished, even after years. There are couples out there, married 30, 40, even 50 years, who've decided not to let intimacy die. Not out of obligation, but because they want more. They've reignited their connection by really talking about what they miss, what they fantasize about, what scares them. And not all of it is smooth. Not all of it is glamorous. But it's real. And that realness builds something stronger than attraction. It builds trust. See, thriving couples in their later years don't expect sex to be what it was when they were 20. They know it's not about positions or performance or proving anything. It's about connection. It's about creating moments where both people feel alive and desired and safe. Sometimes it's lying naked under warm sheets, sharing stories. Sometimes it's a kiss that lingers. Sometimes it's laughing together about what your body won't do anymore, and then finding what it will. It's about letting yourselves be vulnerable again. And vulnerability, that's where intimacy lives. If you're in a relationship right now, you don't need a huge romantic overhaul. You need a tiny spark. Something as small as a conversation, a look, a moment of honesty. Ask each other, what do you miss? What do you still long for? What's one thing we've never tried but might enjoy now? And if the flame feels completely out, don't panic. You're not broken. You're not too old. You just need to clear the ashes and breathe some life into it again. Because when couples choose to re-engage physically and emotionally, even after years of distance, they often discover something beautiful, that love in old age can be deeper, sexier, and more meaningful than they ever imagined. Number 6, sex, death, and the meaning of it all. It might seem strange to talk about sex and death in the same breath, but here's the truth. They're more connected than most people realize. Both remind us that we are alive, that we are fragile, that we are human. As we get older, the presence of death becomes more real. We lose friends. We face our own health scares. The calendar pages turn faster than they used to. And sometimes that reality can make us start counting ourselves out of things that still belong to us, like passion, intimacy, excitement, and wonder. But here's the radical truth. Sex is a way of saying, I'm still here. It's not just about pleasure. It's about presence. It's about feeling your heartbeat against someone else's, feeling breath on skin, feeling joy rush through a body that's been through years of pain and pressure. It's a form of rebellion in a world that expects you to quietly fade. Sex in old age is one of the most life-affirming things a person can experience. It pushes back against the fear that time is running out. It reminds us that we are more than our ailments, our wrinkles, our losses. We are still capable of giving and receiving love in its most powerful form. And yes, for many people, aging brings fears of not performing, of not being attractive, of being alone. But those fears don't have to control you. In fact, facing them can make sex even more meaningful. Because when you understand how short life really is, you stop wasting time pretending. You start choosing truth, real touch, real connection, real pleasure, and you realize something profound. It's not about how long you live, it's about how deeply you feel while you're here. So if you've ever felt that your best days are behind you, know this: the ability to love, to feel, to desire, to connect, that never leaves you. It just waits, quietly, until you're ready to remember what life still has to offer. And when you embrace that, you don't just live longer, you live better. Number 7. What happens if you ignore this? Let's be honest. It's easier to ignore this topic. It's easier to say, it's just not important anymore, and keep moving through life, checking off the boxes. Eat right, take your pills, get some sunlight, call the grandkids. It's easier to convince yourself that this part of you is gone and you're fine without it. But are you? Because the truth is, when you ignore intimacy in old age, something inside begins to close down. It's subtle at first. You might just feel a little more tired, a little more indifferent. The spark that once lit up your days becomes a tiny ember, and eventually it feels like it's gone. This isn't just about sex. This is about what happens when desire, physical and emotional, is denied long enough to feel irrelevant. You may not see the cost right away, but science does. People who remain sexually and intimately active in older age have better heart health, better bone density, lower rates of depression, better sleep, stronger immune systems. They stay more engaged in their communities, more mentally alert, more connected to the people around them. Because intimacy activates everything from hormones to hope. It tells the body you're still needed, you're still wanted, you still belong. When you ignore it, the opposite happens. You shrink, not just physically, but emotionally. You start to disconnect. And sometimes that isolation can look like aging, when really it's just a symptom of being untouched, unheld, unloved. No one deserves that, especially not you. You've spent decades giving, sacrificing, building a life, maybe raising a family, surviving heartbreak, health issues, loss. You've earned the right to feel whole, not just functional, not just present, but alive. So here's the question. If you don't reclaim this part of yourself now, because the danger isn't just in losing physical intimacy, it's in losing your connection to joy. Conclusion: you're not done. You're just getting started. Let's not pretend anymore. Let's not act like this conversation is shameful, or embarrassing, or too taboo to touch. This isn't about sex for the sake of shock. This is about life. The kind of life that doesn't numb itself. The kind of life that doesn't settle for quiet, polite fading. The kind of life that dares to still feel. You are not past your prime. You are not expired. You are not too old, Too wrinkled, too slow, too fragile, or too late. You are still here, still breathing, still capable of loving and being loved, still worthy of deep connection and pleasure. If society has told you otherwise, if your culture or upbringing or past pain has buried that truth, then hear it again. You deserve intimacy. You deserve touch. You deserve joy. This isn't a second chance. This is your life, right now, unfolding in the most honest and powerful way it ever has. You've got wisdom. You've got depth. You've got time. Not forever, but enough. Enough to reach for something more. Enough to heal. Enough to start again. So talk to your partner, or talk to yourself. Ask what you need. Say what you want. Be bold enough to break the silence and brave enough to receive what's waiting for you on the other side. Because the moment you stop writing yourself off is the moment you come fully back to life. And that's the kind of intimacy worth fighting for.